Now, of course, people listening to the Fitness FAQs podcast would be into their training several times a week. How would you go about maybe not separating, but integrating more range of motion and movement into, say, traditional calisthenics?
Number one is that you can use your strength training as, like a double approach. Like you can gain mobility through your strength training if you're smart about it, right? So if you're getting that full hang at the bottom of your pull-ups, getting a little like lat stretch in there. Yeah. If you are, say, breaking up like squatting with doing some split squats to stretch that back hip, right? There's these exercises that can be high bang for your buck in both strength and mobility. So I would say to, do your research there and to be smart about what you're doing. And, if you're just like training front lever and planche all day long, then yeah, like your shoulder, you're going to be like packing that lat down. Your lat's going to get really strong, but you got to reach your arm over your head too, right? And that's going to like mitigate some of all of that strength training. So that's one thing that we've tried to like do here at strength side, but also in my personal practice is like, if I'm doing a lot of pulling, then I might like put some bridging in my program to offset that, right? And I think that can be really valuable for most people. Is I know that we tend to gravitate towards the strength skills. I know I do. Like that's the stuff that I really love doing, want to focus on. But to keep like one flexibility goal in your programming at all times, I think is really good. So say it's the back bridge or say it's the front splits or something like that. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to get the middle splits, the front splits, the bridge. You don't have to do all that at the same time, but pick one and work on it for a training phase or a few months or 6 months, and then assess where you're at and then maybe pick a new goal.
That has excellent application. And I wish that if I was listening to this advice when I was in my early days of training, it would have saved me so much time and effort trying to build that range of motion. So just applying a full range of motion to all of your movements is literally going to give you the best of all worlds, because you'll arguably build more muscle because you're taking the muscle through a greater stretch, a greater squeeze, and you're going to maintain and improve that range of motion, as opposed to just doing, like a good example would be just doing shallow push-ups. You're not going to get a huge stretch through your pecs. You're going to have limited shoulder extension. Same thing with what you said, Josh, with the pulling. If you're staying quite closed at the hang position, you're never going to be able to lift that arm overhead because it's unfamiliar. But I also like, in addition to doing that, easier said than done, of course, but picking a mobility goal that is a weakness of yours and doing that, because if you're training smart using a full range, you're going to be having quite good overall mobility in those patterns. But of course, we all have an area of our body that has limitations.